Commander Vexile walked through the dark hallway of the Zenthari science vessel Celestial Seeker. His bright blue scales had faded and cracked from hunger. The emergency lights threw long shadows as he moved toward the central chamber, where the last of his crew waited. 3 rotations, that's how long their engines had been broken, leaving them stuck in empty space. 3 rotations of screaming for help into nothing. 3 rotations of total silence. Vexile paused at the chamber entrance. Inside, only 12 Zenthari remained. 12 survivors from the original crew of 30. The others had died in the explosion or suffered afterward. The survivors had crowded into this one room to save heat and oxygen as the ship slowly died around them. "Commander," said Nixara, the science officer. Her voice shook with weakness. "How long do we have?" Vexile did not need to check. He already knew these numbers by memory. Perhaps 20 hours, maybe less. Nobody spoke. They had already said goodbye, recorded their last messages, and made peace with death. The Zenthari were proud. These were their greatest scientists. They would meet the end with honor. Vexile sat beside Krell, the ship's doctor, who cared for a young technician burning with fever. "Will she make it?" Vexile asked. "For now," Krell answered. "I have no medicine left. I can only help her feel better." Vexile closed his inner eyelids in respect. They had always known rescue would not come. Their mission had taken them far from the main routes between worlds, and the Zenthari government refused to send help into this dangerous zone. They were truly alone now, left to die. Vexile rose and made his way to the main console. "I want to record our final words," he announced. The others watched with empty eyes as he approached the glowing screen. The system came to life using the last power reserves. Vexile straightened his back. His final message would honor his rank. Final log of Commander Vexile, Zenthari science vessel, Celestial Seeker. Life support will stop within 20 hours. No one has answered our calls for help. My crew has acted with great honor during this crisis, showing the true strength of our people. He paused, his 4-fingered hand hovering over the controls. What else was there to say? "I believe someone destroyed our engines on purpose," he continued quietly. "The damage is too perfect, too exact to be an accident. I do not know who would want to silence our research, but I believe it connects to what we found. The truth must—" A sound burst from the communication speaker. Vexile froze. A voice. A new voice. "Zenthari vessel, this is Captain Alan Miller of the Earth Alliance ship Dauntless. We received your distress call. Stay strong. We are coming for you." The room exploded into chaos. Crew members who had been lying still just moments before jumped to their feet. Nixara rushed to the communication console, pushing past Vexile. "Earth vessel, this is Science Officer Nixara of the Celestial Seeker. We hear you. We need help right now." "Celestial Seeker, we know where you are," Miller replied. "We will reach you in 45 minutes. Can you survive that long?" Vexile stepped forward. "This is Commander Vexile." "Yes, Captain Miller. We can wait." There was a pause. "Never leave anyone behind," Miller said simply. "That is how we do things. Get your crew ready to leave quickly. Our sensors show your hull has damage in many places." "Humans," Krell whispered to Vexile, standing close. "All this way out here." Vexile shared the shock. Humans were new to space travel. They had only learned how to travel faster than light less than 100 years ago. The Galactic Council said humans should stay in their home sector while they learned. Yet here they were, answering a call that the Zenthari's own leaders had ignored. "Track the ship coming toward us," Vexile ordered. A young officer rushed to obey. "Confirmed, Commander," the officer said seconds later. "Human ship signatures. They are moving fast." For the first time since the engines failed, Vexile felt something besides despair. Hope. It was a dangerous feeling. It was also real. "Prepare the crew for rescue," he commanded. "Gather all research data. Take only what we truly need." Vexile pulled Nixara to the side. "The crystal container in my personal storage. Is it secure?" "Yes," Nixara said quietly. "The humans will not know what they have." "Good," Vexile replied. "Until we learn who tried to kill us, we must trust no one." The Celestial Seeker shook as the Earth ship connected to it. Vexile stood at the entry point, wearing his ceremonial coat even though it was wrinkled and stained. Tradition demanded the most senior officer greet the rescuers. The door slid open. Vexile found himself facing a human. The alien was shorter than him, with pale skin and dark short hair. Unlike Zenthari, humans had only 2 eyes. This one's eyes were bright blue, almost the shade that Vexile's own scales used to be. "Commander Vexile?" the human asked, extending his hand. "I am Captain Alan Miller. Let us get your people to safety." Vexile touched his palm to the human's hand, a greeting Vexile recognized from briefings. "Captain Miller, the Zenthari owe you a great debt. You have saved our lives." Miller smiled, showing blunt teeth. "We can talk later. Your ship is breaking apart. We need to move now." Over the next 20 minutes, the human crew worked with speed and skill. They lifted those too weak to walk and treated the injured with surprising knowledge of Zenthari biology. As Vexile, the last to leave, stepped into the human ship, he turned back for one final look. The Celestial Seeker had been his home for 15 years. Now it would have been his tomb without these strangers. "We can talk when your crew is settled," Miller said, leading Vexile toward a medical area. "But I have to know, what were you doing so far from Zenthari space?" Vexile hesitated. The human had rescued them, but the commander's fears about sabotage made him careful. Still, they owed the truth. "We were studying strange areas of space," he said slowly. "We found unexpected things." Miller's eyes grew sharp. "Unexpected enough that someone would want to stop you from coming home?" Vexile stiffened. The human saw clearly. "Perhaps. But this discussion can wait until my people are safe." Miller nodded. "Welcome aboard the Dauntless, Commander. You are safe now." As the human doctors began treating the Zenthari, Vexile watched them work. He had been left to die in silent, empty space by his own government. Now he was rescued by a species many Zenthari saw as primitive and unpredictable. The universe had a strange sense of humor. And justice, too, Vexile thought as he felt the small container of artifacts hidden in his coat. Chief Engineer Catherine Reeves crawled through a narrow tunnel inside the alien vessel. In 15 years as an engineer for Earth Alliance, she had never seen technology like this. Living parts joined with crystal technology in ways that human engineers had only dreamed about. "How are things in there, Chief?" Captain Miller's voice came through her radio. Catherine stopped at a spot where crystal tubes connected to what looked like a living membrane. "Beautiful," she said. "Really beautiful. But I need to focus." She moved deeper into the tunnel, careful not to touch anything. The Celestial Seeker ran on reserve power only. Her job was to see if the ship could be repaired, or if they needed to grab important equipment before everything stopped working. 20 minutes later, Catherine climbed back onto the Dauntless, her uniform dirty with blue-green coolant fluid from the alien systems. Captain Miller and First Officer Ryan Weber waited for her report. "The damage is severe," Catherine said, shaking her head. Their life support would have failed in hours, just like they said. She showed them a diagram on her device. "But look at this. This was no accident." "The damage is too exact." Weber leaned in. "What do you mean?" "Key parts were hit," Catherine said, pointing to several spots on the display. "The way the damage happened, it shows directed energy. Someone knew exactly where to hit them. Someone knew Zenthari ships." Miller's face darkened. "Sabotage!" "Absolutely," Catherine confirmed. "And whoever did it was an expert." Miller and Weber exchanged looks. "How long to fix it?" Miller asked. "With the right parts?" "Weeks," Catherine said. "Without them?" "Impossible. The engines are completely destroyed." She hesitated. "There is something else, Captain. I found hidden data storage in the maintenance tunnels. Not part of the regular ship systems." Miller nodded slowly. "Our guests have secrets." He glanced at Weber. "Keep this quiet. I want to speak with Commander Vexile myself." In the medical bay, Dr. Olivia Hayes moved between Zenthari patients, checking their health and adjusting care. Her study of alien biology made her one of few human doctors able to treat other species. But she was learning as she worked. "Their bodies heal so fast," she told her assistant, pointing to tissue that was already closing. Krell, the Zenthari doctor with 4 large eyes, watched her work closely. "You know our biology well, Dr. Hayes," Olivia smiled. "I studied your medical books during training. But reading and actually treating patients are very different." "Yet you saved our technician Mira," Krell noted. "She would have died without your help." "Your people are strong," Olivia replied. "You survived 3 rotations with almost no air or heat. That is remarkable." Krell moved closer, lowering his voice. "Why was your ship in this region? It is far from where humans usually travel." Olivia hesitated, not having permission to discuss the Dauntless's mission. "Captain Miller can explain to your commander," she said. As if on cue, Miller entered the bay, his tall frame drawing immediate attention. "Dr. Hayes, how are our guests?" "Much better, Captain," Olivia said. "Now that they have food and good air, they are improving quickly." "Good," Miller said. "Is Commander Vexile able to talk?" "I am here, Captain Miller," came a voice from a nearby bed. The Zenthari commander sat up, weak but looking far better than when they had brought him aboard. His scales had started to shine again. "Doctor, could we have privacy?" Miller asked. Olivia nodded. "He's strong enough for talking, but do not tire him out." After the staff moved away, Miller pulled a chair close to Vexile's bed. "Commander, my chief engineer looked at your ship. She believes it was sabotaged." Vexile's inner eyelids flickered, a sign of worry. "I suspected it, but could not prove it." "Do you know who would do this?" "Why?" Miller pulled up a chair. "That is what I hoped you would tell me." Vexile was quiet for a long moment. "Captain Miller, you have given my people life. But I must ask first, why was your ship here? This is far from human space." Miller thought about what to reveal. The Dauntless had been on a secret mission, mapping possible routes for expansion beyond official territory. Finding the Zenthari ship had been pure chance. "We explore," Miller said finally. "Earth Alliance looks for new trade routes without permission from the Galactic Council." Vexile's tone was curious, not angry. "You act without asking first?" Miller smiled slightly. "We ask forgiveness rather than permission." This seemed to please the Zenthari. "Then we understand each other." "Our mission was also not what our government believed." "Go on," Miller prompted. "Officially, we studied strange areas of space," Vexile explained quietly. "But we found something else. Evidence of ancient technology, much more advanced than anything the Council races have now. Technology that has been hidden on purpose." Miller frowned. "Hidden by whom?" "The three founding races of the Council." Vexile's voice dropped even lower. "They have kept power for thousands of years by controlling which technologies other species can develop. They are afraid of losing control." Vexile reached under his medical coat and pulled out a small crystal container. "This holds information that could change the entire power structure of the galaxy." Miller stared at it when a loud alarm suddenly blared through the entire ship. Miller's communication device buzzed immediately. "Captain, to the bridge," Weber said urgently. 3 ships just appeared. They are broadcasting Zenthari military codes." Miller stood quickly. "Reinforcements?" "I do not think so, sir," Weber said. "They are powering weapons." Vexile grabbed Miller's arm with surprising strength. "Captain, you must listen. If those are truly Zenthari military ships, they did not come to rescue us. They came to make sure nothing survives from our mission, including your ship." Miller's eyes narrowed. "Your own government left you to die. Why would they suddenly send ships now?" Vexile pushed the crystal container into Miller's hand. "Whatever happens, they cannot have this." Miller put it in his pocket without looking at it. "No one is dying today. Not your crew, not mine. Weber, move to battle stations. Jackson, get up here now. And Dr. Hayes, get your patients ready to evacuate if needed." Miller strode from the medical bay, feeling the weight of the container in his pocket. Whatever secrets the Zenthari held, they were worth killing for. Now humanity shared that danger. Security Officer Darius Jackson stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, watching the tactical display show 3 Zenthari warships forming a blockade around them. All weapon systems were ready. "They are hailing us, Captain," said Communications Officer Elena Martinez. Miller straightened his uniform. On screen. The main display showed a Zenthari officer whose scales were a darker blue than Vexile's, marked with silver patterns that showed high rank. "Earth vessel, this is Fleet Commander Zorax of the Zenthari Defense Force," the officer said coldly. "You have interfered with a restricted operation. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded." Miller stepped forward. "Fleet Commander, this is Captain Alan Miller of the Earth Alliance ship Dauntless. We responded to a distress call from the science vessel Celestial Seeker. We have 12 survivors aboard receiving medical care. That vessel and its crew are Zenthari property," Zorax replied with no warmth. "Their mission was classified. By helping them, you have broken multiple laws of the Galactic Accords." First Officer Weber leaned close to Miller. "Sir, they are moving into attack positions." Miller nodded slightly, then spoke to the Zenthari commander again. "We acted according to Universal Distress Protocol, which applies to all species everywhere. You will die with them if you do not obey," Zorax said. "You have 5 minutes to power down and prepare to be boarded." The transmission ended. Miller looked around his bridge crew. Options? Their 3 ships outgun us greatly, Darius said. In a direct fight, we lose. Can we outrun them? Miller asked. Catherine Reeves, who had rushed to the bridge, shook her head. Not all 3. Maybe one, but their ships are built for chasing. Could we use the Celestial Seeker as a distraction? Weber suggested. Miller considered this. But I will not risk the 12 people we just saved. He turned to Catherine. What about the sensor ghost protocol we tested? Catherine's eyes widened. It is only experimental, sir. We have only tried it in computer tests. Time to use it for real, Miller said. He activated the ship-wide system. All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. In the medical bay, Dr. Hayes worked quickly to move all her patients. We need to move everyone to the inner rooms, she told her team. If they attack the outer hull, we could lose everything. Commander Vexile tried to sit up. Dr. Hayes, let me contact my government. I can make them listen to reason. Olivia gently pushed him back down. Captain Miller is handling this. You need to stay alive. Krell moved between beds, helping the human medical team. Zorax is not known for listening, he said quietly. He is a military extreme follower, loyal to the Council above all else. The Galactic Council? Olivia asked, helping a weak Zenthari onto a transport. The group that runs everything between the stars, Krell explained. Your species has little to do with them. For good reason, it sounds like, Olivia muttered. Back on the bridge, Catherine worked frantically. Sensor ghost protocol ready, Captain. But it will only confuse them for a few minutes at best. That is all we need, Miller said. Helm, plot a course through the asteroid field at high speed. Engage on my signal. Full power, the helm officer protested. Sir, that is dangerously close to the gravity well of that gas giant. Exactly why they will not expect it, Miller replied. He turned to Darius. Launch false sensor targets. Program them to look like our engine signature. Darius nodded, understanding. Ready, sir? Miller checked the time. 1 minute until their deadline. He took a breath. Now, execute. The Dauntless surged forward suddenly at maximum speed. At the same time, Catherine activated the sensor ghost protocol, creating multiple false readings on enemy scanners. They are firing! Weber shouted as energy beams shot out from the Zenthari ships. The Dauntless shook as one blast grazed their shields. Damage report! Miller demanded. Shields at 82%, Catherine replied. The ghost protocol is working. They are firing at multiple locations. Darius released the false targets, which scattered everywhere, each one broadcasting an identical engine signature to the Dauntless. The helm officer announced they were entering the asteroid field. The view screen showed massive rocks spinning slowly in the dark. The Dauntless weaved between them, using the natural cover to hide from sensors. The Zenthari ships are pursuing, Darius reported. But they are splitting up to chase the false targets. Miller smiled slightly. Good. Keep going toward the gas giant. We will use its radiation belt to hide our signature while we prepare to jump away. In the medical bay, the Zenthari felt the ship's sharp movements. Science Officer Nixera approached Dr. Hayes. Your captain appears to be escaping rather than surrendering, she observed. Captain Miller does not leave people he has saved, Olivia replied, holding a tray steady. We do not abandon anyone, even when facing much stronger enemies. Nixera asked. Especially then, Olivia said firmly. That is humanity. The ship shook again as another blast hit the shields. One of their ships has figured out the trick, Darius reported on the bridge. It is closing on us. Miller gripped his command chair. Distance to the radiation belt? 30 seconds, sir, the helm officer replied. Redirect power from non-essential systems to engines, Miller ordered. Release emergency plasma vents on my signal. Catherine looked up sharply. Sir, that will leave us without reserve power for 10 minutes. Better than being captured, Miller replied grimly. Standing by. The Dauntless released a huge cloud of superheated plasma from its engine vents as it entered the radiation belt. The pursuing Zenthari warship plunged into the plasma cloud, its sensors suddenly blind. We lost them, Weber exclaimed, checking the tactical display. The radiation is hiding us and the plasma disrupted their tracking. Miller did not relax yet. Hold position through the belt. When we come out the other side, jump to the nearest Earth Alliance outpost. That would be Outpost 7, sir, Elena said. 7 hours at maximum jump speed. Make it happen, Miller confirmed. And send someone to medical. Check on our guests. Make sure they are okay after that wild ride. Darius volunteered, leaving his station to a junior officer. As he moved through the ship, he could not shake a feeling of unease. The Zenthari government had left their own people to die, then tried to kill them too. Now humans were involved as well. Whatever Vexile had discovered was worth killing for, and now Earth was part of it. When Darius entered the medical bay, he found Dr. Hayes and her team helping patients who had been tossed around during the escape. Commander Vexile sat on the edge of his bed looking calm despite everything. "Officer Jackson," Vexile greeted him. "Your captain shows true skill." "He has gotten us out of tight spots before," Darius replied carefully. Vexile's inner eyelids flickered, but perhaps not with Zenthari military chasing us. This is completely new. "Why are your people so determined to silence you?" Darius asked directly. Vexile glanced around at his crew before answering. "Because what we found threatens the foundation of galactic politics. And by helping us, your people are now involved as well." "Involved in what exactly?" "A truth hidden for 20,000 years, Vexile said softly. "One that will change everything, especially for species like yours." Commander Jack Wilson, military intelligence officer, had not expected to examine alien artifacts. Yet here he was, leaning forward to study the crystal container on the conference room table. "Are you sure this information is real?" Wilson asked, looking at Vexile. The Zenthari commander, now recovered enough to attend the meeting, nodded. "My team verified the data many times. What is inside is genuine." 7 hours after their escape from the Zenthari warships, the Dauntless had reached Outpost 7. Wilson had arrived shortly after, sent by Earth Alliance intelligence to assess the situation. Miller activated the device. A holographic image appeared above the table, showing detailed plans for an advanced propulsion system. "This is just one piece," Vexile explained. "We discovered many similar items at an abandoned site. The technology is far beyond anything currently used, even by the eldest council races." Catherine Reeves studied the plans with growing excitement. "This drive system would be 3 times more efficient than our current jump technology. The power requirements are revolutionary." Wilson remained guarded in his expression. "And you believe the Galactic Council has been hiding this technology?" "Not just this," Vexile said. "All advanced technology. The 3 founding races, the Alterans, Vidians, and Mox Collective, have maintained power for over 20,000 years by making sure no other species advances too quickly." Darius Jackson, who had been listening quietly, finally spoke. "Why did your own government hide this? Surely it would help your people." Vexile's scales shifted slightly, a sign of discomfort. "The Zenthari joined the Council 500 years ago. We have enjoyed the benefits of membership. My mission was inconvenient for those who liked the system as it was. So they left you to die," Miller said flatly. "And when that failed, they tried to eliminate the evidence," Vexile confirmed. "Including your ship and crew." Wilson rubbed his chin thoughtfully. "The implications are enormous. If what you are saying is true, the Council has created what amounts to a technological control system for thousands of years." "That is an accurate description," Vexile agreed. The room fell silent as the humans processed this. Finally, Dr. Hayes asked the question everyone was thinking. "What do we do with this information?" Wilson sighed heavily. "The Earth Alliance is not ready for open conflict with the Galactic Council. If we publicly accuse them, they will dismiss us as primitive troublemakers." "So we do nothing?" Catherine asked in disbelief. "Let them keep holding back progress?" "I did not say that," Wilson replied with a slight smile. "I said we cannot go public. But there are other options." Miller leaned forward. "What do you mean?" "The Zenthari are not the only species unhappy with Council restrictions," Wilson explained. "Earth intelligence has monitored communications suggesting discontent among at least a dozen mid-tier civilizations." Vexile's inner eyelids flickered with interest. "You suggest an alliance, not an official one. That would violate many treaties. But an understanding, a sharing of information outside official channels." Dr. Hayes nodded slowly. "A technological resistance movement." "Exactly," Wilson confirmed. "We start small. Medical technology, better farming methods, things that could be explained as natural development." Darius raised a practical concern. "The Council will notice if multiple species advance at the same time." "Not if we are careful," Catherine said. We introduce things gradually, starting with technologies that are the next natural step for each species. Miller turned to Vexile. Would others Zenthari support this approach? Those who question the Council? Many who are not loyal to the Council would support it, Vexile said. Especially scientists, some military officers too who resent Council limits on our defenses. And other species? Wilson asked. The Fraxians have long resented Council control, Vexile suggested, as have the Nor Collective and the Tiani Republic. All have skilled scientists who would understand the value of what we offer. Miller stood and paced the room. This would need cooperation between species that are currently competitors, or even enemies. Yes, Vexile agreed. The Council keeps power by making species fear each other, keeping them isolated. Your human way of helping even those you might compete with is revolutionary. Wilson opened a secure data terminal. I need to contact Earth Alliance Command. This decision is too large for us, but I will suggest moving forward with caution. As Wilson stepped out to make his call, Miller turned to the others. Whether Command approves or not, we are already involved. The Zenthari military knows we have Vexile and his crew. They know we have the artifacts. We could still turn them over and avoid conflict. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Miller. His weathered face hardened with determination. No, he said firmly. We do not abandon people we have saved, and we do not surrender knowledge that could help billions across the galaxy, simply because some ancient powers want to keep their advantage. Dr. Hayes smiled. That sounds like the official start of a resistance movement. A very human decision. Vexile observed, his tone showing approval. Catherine began examining the plans more closely. If we are really doing this, I should start analyzing how these technologies could work with different species' existing systems. The door slid open, and Wilson returned. His expression was serious but also determined. Command is cautiously supportive, he announced. They are sending additional personnel and resources to help establish secure communication with possible allies. So we are really doing this, Darius said. Not quite a question. We are, Wilson confirmed. Command is calling it Operation Dawn. Appropriate, Vexile commented. A new day for many species kept in darkness for so long. Miller looked around at this unlikely group. Humans and Zenthari, scientists and soldiers, now united in something larger than any of them had anticipated. We should establish contact with trustworthy members of the species, Vexile mentioned. Miller suggested carefully. Through existing trade channels or scientific exchanges. I can provide names, Vexile offered. Scientists who have expressed frustration with Council restrictions and conversations. Good, Wilson said. And we will need to create a system for sharing information that cannot be traced back to Earth or your crew. As they continued planning, Miller pulled Dr. Hayes aside. How are the other Zenthari crew members doing? Recovering well, she replied. Most are scientists like Vexile. They seem ready to continue their work now that they know they are not alone. Miller nodded thoughtfully. They almost died alone in space. Instead, they have sparked what might become the most significant change in galactic politics in 20,000 years. All because you decided to answer a distress call from an unknown ship, Olivia said with a smile. It is what humans do, Miller replied simply. We help. Across the room, Vexile watched the humans discussing and planning, working together with energy that was rare among older species. The Zenthari commander felt something he had not experienced in a very long time, hope for a future, not controlled by the ancient powers that had kept so many in subservience for so long. The change would begin quietly with whispered conversations and shared knowledge. But it had started, and humanity, the newcomers to galactic society, had lit the first spark. 5 years had passed since the rescue of the Celestial Seeker. Elena Martinez stood at the observation window of Harmony Station, watching as ships from 27 different species entered the massive hangar bay. Once a junior communications officer aboard the Dauntless, she now served as the human liaison to the Alliance's central coordination hub, hidden within an asteroid field in neutral space. Quite a change from when this was just a mining facility, said a familiar voice behind her. Elena turned to see Admiral Alan Miller, his hair now streaked with gray but his eyes still sharp and determined. Though he had been promoted years ago, she still thought of him as the captain who had answered a desperate distress call and changed galactic history. Hard to believe it has only been 5 years, she replied. Sometimes it feels like decades. Miller joined her at the window. Any word from our Fraxian contacts? Their delegation arrived an hour ago, Elena confirmed. Dr. Reeves is already working with their engineers on the medical regeneration technology. The station hummed with activity as scientists and engineers from previously hostile species worked together. In one lab below them, Zenthari and Fraxian researchers, species that had fought 3 wars in the last 100 years, collaborated on a project to improve food production for both their worlds. The Council is getting suspicious, Miller said quietly. Their observers have noticed technological advancement across multiple worlds happening all at once. Elena nodded. Our intelligence suggests the Alluran delegate has proposed tighter restrictions on species cooperation. Then we are running out of time, Miller replied, his face serious. Vexile approached them, now wearing the insignia of the Alliance rather than his former Zenthari rank. The past 5 years had changed him too. His blue scales had deepened in color, marked now with silver patterns that showed his new status among his people. Admiral Elena, he greeted them. I have received word from our representative in the Council. The rumors are true. The Council has scheduled an emergency meeting to discuss what they call unauthorized technological advancement. Miller frowned. So they know. They suspect, but they have no proof of coordination, Vexile clarified. However, they are proposing to establish monitoring stations in the territories of all member species. Spies, Elena said simply. Exactly. Miller turned to look out at the gathered ships again. We always knew this day would come. The question is, are we ready? Their conversation was interrupted by Nixara, who had become the Zenthari representative to the Alliance leadership. Admiral, the Council meeting is about to begin. Everyone is assembled. The 4 of them made their way to the central chamber of Harmony Station. Inside, representatives from all 27 species of the Shadow Alliance sat around a large circular table. Some appeared in person, others as holographic projections from distant worlds. Miller took his place at the table. Though not officially the leader, he was respected as the human who had helped start everything. Friends, he began, his voice carrying across the chamber. For 5 years we have worked in secret, sharing knowledge that was kept from us for thousands of years. We have improved medicine, created better food production, improved energy systems, all quietly. But that time is ending. The Council has noticed our progress and is moving to stop it. We must decide now. Do we continue in the shadows, risking discovery and punishment? Or do we step forward and challenge the old order directly? The chamber erupted in discussion. Some representatives argued for caution. Others wanted bold action. The debate went on for hours, with each species weighing the risks to their people. Catherine Reeves, now Chief Science Officer of the Alliance, finally stood to speak. The technologies we have developed together have given us advantages the Council does not know about. Our ships are faster, our shields stronger. If conflict comes, we can defend ourselves. But at what cost? Asked the Nor representative, whose crystalline form shimmered with concern. War benefits no one. Who said anything about war? Darius Jackson countered. He had left Earth Alliance security to become the Alliance's strategic advisor. We are talking about freedom. The right to develop without restrictions. As the debate continued, Elena watched Miller. She could see him considering every argument, weighing every risk. Finally, he stood again and the room fell silent. I suggest a middle path, he said calmly. Not continued secrecy, which will eventually fail. Not war, which would devastate worlds. But open declaration of a new galactic alliance, one based on cooperation and shared progress rather than control. Vexile's inner eyelids flickered with interest. You propose we reveal ourselves? Yes, Miller confirmed. We invite all species to join us, including the founding council races. We make clear that we seek partnership, not conflict. We show them that we have surpassed the need for their control. A bold move, Nixara observed. Humanity specializes in bold moves, Miller replied with a slight smile. It has gotten us this far. The representatives discussed the proposal intensely. Gradually, a consensus formed. They would reveal the alliance publicly and invite all species to join them. 3 weeks later, representatives of the alliance gathered on a neutral space station. Billions across the galaxy watched the transmission as Admiral Miller prepared to address them. People of the galaxy, he began, his voice calm and clear. For too long, artificial barriers have separated us. Our peoples, our technologies, our futures. Today we choose a different path. As he spoke, ships from all Alliance species moved into formation around the station, showing their unity and strength. We invite all species, including the founding council races, to join us in this new era, Miller continued. We have survived alone in the cold of space, isolated and left to die. We have learned that our greatest strength comes not from keeping knowledge hidden, but from sharing it. Beside him, Elena felt pride surge in her chest. The human who had answered a distress call from a dying alien ship now stood before the entire galaxy, offering a new future. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Across the galaxy, species that had been denied full participation in galactic affairs for thousands of years rallied to the Alliance. The Council, facing this unified force, saw its power erode hour by hour. Later, as Miller and Elena watched reports of new worlds declaring for the Alliance, she asked, "Did you ever imagine this when you picked up that distress signal 5 years ago?" Miller shook his head. "I just did what any human would do. You do not leave people to die alone in the silence of space." Vexile joined them, gazing out at the stars. "Your people view the universe in a strange way, Admiral. Most species look to the stars and see resources to take and territory to control. What do humans see?" Elena asked. Miller smiled. "Neighbors we have not met yet." On worlds across the galaxy, species that had once feared each other began working together openly. Technologies hidden for thousands of years transformed lives, bringing health and prosperity to billions. And it had all started with one simple human principle: you do not leave people behind. Even strangers, even aliens, especially not to die alone in the silence of space.